Hello and welcome to the Amateur Austenite. My name is Frances Duncan. I am an author and the founder of the Jane Austen Society of New Zealand. However, I am underqualified for my job as I am and have always been an enthusiastic amateur, hence the title of this podcast. You may have noticed that the tech is slightly different to what it was previously. I'm hoping the sound quality isn't too bad. Today we are going to be discussing Chapter 12 of Pride and Prejudice by Jane Austen. Chapter 12 is a tiny chapter. It is less than 2 pages in my novel. Elizabeth and Jane leave Netherfield and Mr. Bennet is delighted to have them home. He says that conversation has lost almost all sense without them. Mrs. Bennet tries to scheme to get the girls to stay at Netherfield longer, but the girls are smarter than this. Mr. Darcy is happy they are leaving as Elizabeth attracted him more than he liked, and he's quite rude to her in the end, sitting half an hour refusing to even look at her, which sounds a little bit like a grumpy teenager. And it is pretty mean that Mrs. Bennet also doesn't welcome them home. She really only wanted them to come home if they came with husbands. Mrs. Bennet, who had calculated on her daughters remaining at Netherfield till the following Tuesday, which would exactly finish Jane's week, could not bring herself to receive them with pleasure any time before. So, to Mr. Darcy, it was a welcome intelligence that they were leaving. Elizabeth had been at Netherfield long enough. She attracted him more than he liked. Steady to his purpose, he scarcely spoke 10 words to her through the whole of Saturday, and though they were at one time left by themselves for half an hour, he adhered most conscientiously to his book and would not even look at her. The evening conversation, when they were all assembled, had lost much of its animation and almost all its sense by the absence of Jane and Elizabeth, and this is Mr. Bennet's thoughts. So family are often used as entertainment, so the reduction of 2 daughters would have made a big difference. Elizabeth took leave of the whole party with the liveliest of spirits. I imagine she was very happy to be leaving. It was probably quite a trial for her, even though she loved her sister. They found Mary, as usual, deep in the study of thorough base and human nature, had some new extracts to admire and some new observations of threadbare morality to listen to. Poor Mary. Catherine and Lydia had gossip to share with them about several of the officers who dined with their uncle and that a private had been flogged, and that it was hinted that Colonel Forster was going to be married. We meet Mrs. Forster later in the novel, so that's potentially be quite important, because Mrs. Forster becomes a good friend of Lydia, who then invites her to Brighton, and then of course the elopement happens. But yeah, it's quite a short chapter, so it bridges the gap between leaving Netherfield and coming home to Longbourn, and then the rest of the novel basically. So that is my summary of Chapter 12 of Pride and Prejudice by Jane Austen. Thank you for listening. My name is Frances Duncan. You can find me at francesduncanwrites.com and on Twitter at Frances_Duncan. Thank you for listening, and I wish you happy reading.